Secondly, we also have an ad hoc network problem because these base stations could be far away. I mean, we are talking about tens of kilometers, possibly, between two base stations. So essentially, what would happen is alert messages are going to be, safety messages, are going to be relayed from various cars that detect them to other cars on the road in both directions of the traffic. So now we are going to have some rudimentary form of an ad hoc network. The problem here is how do we establish what we call trust, and I'll define what trust means in a minute here, between various nodes of this highly mobile network and the infrastructure, and among the highly mobile nodes themselves, particularly since these highly mobile nodes don't form a network that lasts more than perhaps a few minutes. So how do we establish trust? What's trust here? How do I establish belief in the contents of the message, even if I know where this message comes from? I know that the message comes from the car ahead of me. But what makes me believe that the content of that message is valid? Okay? So we essentially have to build this metrics of trust that we apply to all the information that we can gather about the car ahead of us, and then automatically make the decision as to whether we believe this message, we believe this warning, or we ignore it. So this is one of the things that I call trust establishment without an infrastructure. What about accountability with privacy? So one of the things that we'd like to do is to make sure that whoever sends a message is accountable for the contents of that message. And with this, I think I'm offline. But I'll continue to pursue the last 2 points. So the idea here is that we want privacy, we want basically anonymity, and we want unlinkability of messages with cars. In other words, if I broadcast, for example, a message signed by the same key repeatedly of a period of time, say of half an hour, then obviously people will find out that whatever I broadcast can be traced to that particular public key that verifies the signature, and eventually they find out that that's my node, even if I broadcast that message under an anonymous license plate, not on my regular license plates. It's an electronic license plate. So somehow I have to make sure that whatever I broadcast cannot be linked to the same node all the time. This might require, for example, the uploading of a large number of public-private key pairs in the system, and changing these keys periodically so as to establish unlinkability. Who knows? But this is certainly a major area of concern, at least to the people involved in vehicular network security. Third, and very importantly, is user interfaces and security management in subsystems. Who manages the security of such a network? Is it your gas station attendant who's going to distribute keys to you? Is it perhaps the DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicles? Who is it that sets up the network and administers the security of this vehicular network? Very unclear at this point. We all postulate all this governmental intervention and infrastructure. Is it the highway administration somehow that establishes these base stations on the roads and the various kind of electronic road signs? At this point, we don't know, but it's certainly an interesting area to envision, postulate, and worry about adversaries. Okay, that's roughly all I had to say.